The greatest R6 Pro of all time is not Shaiko, it's not Spoit, it's not Bolo, and in this video, I'm going to explain.
Not Shaiko, it's not Spoit, and it's not Bolo. So who's left? Pengu. It has to be Pengu.
Exactly why that is. With the 6th Invitational coming up, Siege's biggest tournament ever, this is a good time to discuss this because any of these 3 players could cement themselves closer in the conversation if they win this tournament. This is literally Siege's biggest tournament in history, biggest tournament every year, and I'm sorry, Jinxie viewers, it's just not the case yet, at least in most R6 actual fans' opinions. They're
It
not
has
in
to
the
be Pengu.
conversation yet, and no, it's not Stompin', because, you know, Stompin's not even pro yet. In this video, we're going to talk about all the reasons why Shaiko, Spoit, and Bolo are not currently, at least, up there in the conversation of the greatest of all time, who actually is in the conversation, and who might be, you know, other
How long
things
is this
like
video?
who's the
30
greatest coach
minutes?
of all time, and why it's not me, chat. It's I'm nowhere close either. So the first person we're going to talk about is Spoit. The biggest thing we talk about when we're talking about the greatest pro, at least within esports of all time, right, is chips, rings, championships, right? You're not gonna talk. No NBA player is your greatest of all time, is your GOAT without an NBA championship, right? Or at least multiple NBA championships. Spoit has won a single major, that being the Berlin Major in his first stage ever, his rookie stage as a pro, which is a crazy feat. He became the best team in the world. For those who don't know, if you see A-tier competitions, S-tier competitions, S-tier competitions is an international world championship, or at least, you know, winning that makes you the best team
$200,000 prize
in the
pool.
world at the time. So Spoit has won one S-tier event, won one major. He's on the same amount of accomplishments as me right now. I also have only won one major, and I do not nowhere near think myself to be the GOAT of this game. But yeah, this is
I like
the
watching
reason,
this
right?
guy's
So I want
videos a
to
lot.
introduce
He's
that as the first thing is
I like how he
number
breaks
of
things
NBA
down.
championships, right? MJ's the GOAT because he's won like what, 6? LeBron is considered to be in the GOAT conversation because he's won like 3 or 4. Same with Steph, like they've won multiple NBA championships. But a player like Jason Tatum, for example, would you consider him to be your GOAT? You wouldn't, right? Like,
Yes, I
I
would.
think it's pretty like important here to understand the criteria we're going by. Yes, you can determine a player's insane or impactful, whatever, but I think the prerequisite for most people and most sports thing, the first thing they talk about is the number of chips they have, and you just have to have world championships in Siege. You have to have titles in Siege, and not only that, but multiple titles. Which brings us to our next player, Bolo. This is one thing that
I mean,
Bolo has.
I would imagine Bolo is up there as the greatest Siege player of all time. I like me personally, if someone was to ask me my top 3, Bolo's definitely up there, you know, if I had to think about it.
Oh,
I can remember back before he was even pro, way back when he used to play just ranked, and everyone thought he was hacking at the time because he was just so wild.
for Spoit. And Shaiko too. Is Bolo has won a tournament called the 6th Invitational. Like I said, the biggest tournament in the world. If you see here, it's not, you know, this year and every year before this, it is a $3 million prize pool. Right? I keep emphasizing every time. It's not fake. It's not like a console tournament title. It's genuinely a $3 million prize pool. For reference, the majors are only $750,000 prize pools. This is for $3 million. And for the time being, at least with the English-speaking world, I know Brazilians called major winners world champions, but for now, for the most of R6 viewers, you only are a world champion if you win the 6th Invitational. That's why Bolo posted this video that he is world champions, because he's won the 6th Invitational before.
Yes.
But also, right, that is
because yeah, like I was saying, this is why I like watching his videos, because he breaks it down for people that don't understand, so that way they have a general understanding of what's going on.
His
like
only S-tier win as well. He has won, right? He has won. But the problem with Bolo is that there are people out there with multiple invitational wins. If you see him lifting a trophy, he's lifting a hammer. These things are called hammers, right? So there are people out there with multiple hammers, and that's the only thing that's stopping Bolo from progressing.
So who were they gonna say? Like Kento Raketti, I don't know. How many did? Who else can I think of? Shate, Pengu. Um,
as well. He has one.
Here we go.
Right, he has one. But the problem with Bolo is that there are people out there with multiple invitational wins. If you see him lifting a trophy, he's lifting a hammer.
Fabian?
These things are called hammers.
Ah,
right? So there
have
are
you seen this
people
before?
out there with multiple hammers. And that's the only thing that's stopping Bolo from progressing further in this conversation, is that the most prestigious tournament in Siege history. Yes, Bolo has won it one time. Yes, he's a fucking legend. He's a great figure in the game. If we're talking about pure content-wise, he's
Yeah, that just shows that I still don't
pure figure in the game. But in terms of pure achievements, NBA
I still don't know a
championships,
lot, and I'm
Olympic
pretty familiar with
championships,
a
world
lot of Siege.
championships,
So
he has one. So sadly, for the time being, he could expand this because he is playing in,
you know, when you say
the next six invitational.
when you say Fabian, I like it clicked. I was like, why didn't I even think of that guy?
I think Shaiko right now is probably the closest to being in this GOAT conversation. He is definitely the most consistent player of all time. The way I view him, however, in basketball terms, is more like a KD, in my opinion. Right? So,
Okay.
Shaiko is definitely the most consistent player in history. He's so insane. There's just one issue with Shaiko. Number one is that Shaiko does not have a hammer, right? That's one thing Bolo has over Shaiko. He doesn't have the most prestigious win. And the second thing is most of Shaiko's S tier titles are Gamers 8. If you don't know what Gamers 8 is, Gamers 8 is a Saudi Arabian tournament that kind of like spawned in. Right? So it's like, Saudi Arabia, they got fucking oil money out the wazoo. So of course they can host these tournaments with the craziest prize pools of all time and like match in
400,000.
Crazy. But the problem with that is just that just recently, it's been considered like a siege, an actual siege, legitimate thing. Because the first 2 years, so in total, Shaiko has one major, right? And 3 Gamers 8s, now rebranded to the Esports World Cup. So 3 Saudi tournaments, which people have started calling him a Saudi merchant, right? Like if they hosted a tournament in Saudi, Shaiko would win every single tournament, which is kind of harmful to his name.
I think Shaiko's good, man. He's real fucking good.
It's just recently coming into legitimacy. The first year, all the pros that played it were like, oh, this isn't real. There's no way this real. There's no way this prize pool is real. So a lot of teams didn't even try to qual for it. And then the second year, it's like the invite system was weird, where they invited teams that just placed top 3 at invite.
I'm not familiar with this tournament at all.
Play through single elim open qualifiers, like even all the pro teams as well. And it all happens in like the course of 1 week, when like these actual majors and invitationals happen over the course of like multiple.
The
weeks.
major's only 92,000 compared to like Gamers 8. Gamers 8 is 750.
I would have to say like a major is like an NBA championship. Invite is like the Olympics, I guess, but if the Olympics could be played by like every single team, like actual basketball teams, and the Gamers 8 is like the NBA Cup. Gamers 8 is like the NBA Cup, or like whatever new midseason tournament. In League of Legends term, I would say like majors like MSI and like
this guy's got a little bit of basketball knowledge, huh?
Yeah, the NBA Cup, March Madness. Yeah, there you go. That's how I would explain it. So
he makes a lot of basketball references.
Right now, yes, the Esports World Cup, I currently do view it as like a chip, an S tier. Like now that it's rebranded to the Esports World Cup, and now that everyone is going for it, and now that everyone realizes it's legit, right? I feel like everyone like. It definitely does show a lot, but the issue is, right, if you see right here, he's got second place at the last 2 official Ubisoft tournaments, which, kind of like plays pretty badly in the Saudi merchants narrative, and at the end of the day, he doesn't have a hammer, right? But this is the biggest thing with this conversation. The biggest thing with this conversation is that invites coming up.
Does Pengu win any S tier tournaments without Fabian? And I think that's what it's going to come down to.
Invite is coming up.
If he says
Pengu.
Pengu.
I'm going to be streaming all of the games. You can catch them all on my channel.
Or Fabian.
I'm trying to streaming all the games, right? And if they're all competing on it. Spoit, Shaiko, Bolo, all your favorite Jinxie R6 Pro players are all playing in the 6th Invitational 2025. If either of them win it, I think they all just cement themselves instantly into the top of that conversation. Right? So that is like, I think right now the reason why like true R6 esports fans, like they know anything about the game, or if you talk about actual like pro accomplishments, I think that is why they're not viewed within the top of the greatest of all time conversation as of right now. Now, we're going to move on to the next segment, which who is, right? Who is in this conversation?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Conversation. I recently made a video. Anyway, so I'm going to go over everyone in the
Oh,
conversation.
I see Pengu right there.
With this guy. I recently made a video about Pengu, and it seems like the world forgot because, like I said, someone came in my chat was like, who is the guy? He's a plumber? Here's the thing, right? Let's count Shaiko's S tier wins, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Drum roll,
right?
yep.
Bolo has 1 S tier win. Spoit has 1 S tier win, right? Pengu has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 S tier wins. And 2 of them were back-to-back 6 invitationals. I think I can confidently say like that he is, I think,
look at Fabian player, right there.
At least as a player, tied with, you know, I'm going to talk about his teammate Fabian later, tied for the most S tier titles in Siege, period, right? He is a 7 times best team in the world, 2 of them being the most prestigious tournament in Siege, the 6th Invitational. He's won it twice back-to-back on G2 and on Penta.
That's when I used to be heavy into Pro League, man. I used to watch Pro League like religiously back then. My nose is getting stuffy because my son turned the heat on and it like did something in my nose out of nowhere.
Like, if you know anything about this, if you watch R6 Esports back in the day, then you also know this clip as well. Like, this is nostalgic. These are some of the most viewed R6 clips of all time. Like, besides the iconic, you know, shotgun clutch in Oregon, these are the most R6 clips of all time, right? So, Pengu was a top performer on his team. He's won all, like, literally the first, like, 5 minutes of this video, or not, like 3 minutes of this video, is literally just him lifting trophies because he's won that much.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, definitely, and this was like the most.
I mean, if he said Pengu is the top Siege player or Siege Pro,
so, and he was
I wouldn't be mad. You know, I definitely would agree with that. I'm just curious to know what his argument is with the others. So.
The Shaiko situation where like everyone's saying like, oh, he's a scumbag for getting Shaiko banned. At the end of the day, like, you gotta realize Pengu's not going into it with the intention of getting Shaiko banned. Chat, you know how in those roller tournaments you can request anyone use a hand cam, like to make sure they're not like, you know, using Cronus or Zim or actually using Rico. Like you could do the same thing in Pro League. It's like you could check their Moss and then Shaiko's literally anti-cheat file did not pass the admin test. Now, back then, it was a very shoddy, it was very, like, Shaiko made a whole document, you know, complaining about, like, how, like, oh, like, they could reproduce that accidental thing without actually having macros. But at the end of the day, the anti-cheat file came back with the macro, okay? Yeah. They didn't just ban him because Pengu said so.
Yep.
Like it's because
I remember that.
The file that the anti-cheat
that was such a big controversy too.
That tracks all your programs, that takes a screenshot of your screen, that tracks everything. The Moss file that came back with the macro. Granted, it was probably bullshit because the program wasn't as developed at the time, but Shaiko served the full length of his ban. He didn't get unbanned because of anything, I'm pretty sure. So yeah. So regardless of all that, it's like you can call for a Moss check on
I'm looking at the chat up here and they're calling Pengu a rat, a snake and all that, bro. When you playing for money, like, this isn't just your average rank game, right? You're not sitting there playing and, you know, you're losing elo. You're playing for money at this point, bro. So how could they sit there and expect Pengu not to, or, you know, or anyone, as a matter of fact, how can they expect anyone not to say something? The best thing they could do is complain about it and hope that, you know, if the person is cheating, he gets caught, and if he isn't cheating, then, you know, you just take the L. But if you don't say anything at all, you're just letting money go, you know, go away without even fighting for it. It's better to say something and be wrong than to not say anything and be right.
Okay, I'm not saying it was right, it was wrong. I'm not saying Shaiko was cheating. I'm just saying it's a...
And I don't think he was cheating either. It's just like he said, that fucking the Moss files, that shit was underdeveloped back then. So, I mean, could there be computer error? Absolutely, I think so.
It's not anyone's fault, in my opinion, except for the Moss at the time, the developer of the cheat at the time, for not making it as robust that should have been, and the admin's fault for not investigating.
Yep. And we got more
Is
ads.
Mando a product that does what we say it's going to do?
It a lot more besides, oh, we found the thing that literally shows a macro. It's not humanly possible. You're bad. The next guy we're talking about, I think, is the greatest R6 mind of all time. And the guy we're going to talk about is Fabian. Fabian has
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's 7, obviously. He's won the exact, because he was on this team with Pengu all the way through, right?
Yep.
He's won the exact same amount. He's got 7 S tiers as a player. He was the IGL for that team, that dynasty, that team ran siege. This is the Chicago Bulls, chat. This is the Chicago Bulls. G2
I would have
Bulls. They
look
won this
another
back-to-back-to-
another basketball reference. I would have appreciated if he said that these guys were, the New England Patriots in the Tom Brady era.
back-to-back-to-back
That would've been
champions every single year, every single time, over and over, straight fucking wins. This whole stretch without losing, they were dominant as fuck. Chicago Bulls, this is them. He won a 6, he retired, he became a coach, and he won the 6th Invitational again. He is the only player in the game with
I did not know
3
that fact.
hammers. 3 fucking hammers. He's got 3 6 invitational titles. 3. 2 as player, 1 as coach. The greatest R6 mind of all time. This is if Michael Jordan went to the Charlotte Hornets and then also brought the Charlotte Hornets a trophy as head coach. That's the deal with Fabian. I'm going to pull up a Fabian coach clip, and this is him calling a timeout.
Oh, he sounds mad.
I haven't shut it up you once in my entire 6 months here. But what the fuck are we doing? We're teaming.
Good.
We're not talking. We're shouting over each other. Fucking wake up! If
Yeah.
you want to go out of the tournament, we've shown everyone here that we were the best team in this tournament in group stages. Fucking do it! You guys got this! Communication and coordination. We're one by one dying everywhere. Time to wake up! Fucking get the energy. Fucking
Yeah,
get
he's
the
right.
rest.
I like this shit.
Done.
Oh yeah, he's hyping me up.
Energy, show it!
And then he wins the tournament, right? And then he
Yeah.
wins the tournament against a team that went on to win the entirety of next year. They lift the trophy, they win the entire tournament. This guy, best coach in the world, and then he goes to like Asia after that, and he brings a Korea. By the way, Korea is commonly known as like one of the lowest regions in Siege, and he brings a Korean team to beat BDS after that as their coach. So that should just go to show his prowess in the mind. Now, like you guys said, what you guys are saying is correct. The only thing that you can argue that these guys have the most R6 achievements in Siege, the most S tiers, period. The only thing argument against these guys, like you said, is that during their time as a dynasty that they shat on everyone else sucked. Which is true. The only thing I have to say against that is like, no matter what, the current players will always be better than old players. So it's like, for me, it's more accurate to go off the gap between the top and the bottom. But it's true. It's true. Like between the gap and the rest of the competition, right? And for like the most amount of time. But it's true. At that time, the game was mostly undeveloped. These guys were so fucking far ahead that of course they dominated absolutely everyone.
I agree with him. I think players nowadays are better mechanically at Siege. I don't think players are as smart though, because now I feel like a lot of the game has turned into TDM with bomb sites. So I mean, I think people are definitely mechanically better. I don't know if they're smarter than they were back in those days.
For the longest time. This brings us to our next guy, Troy Canadian. Whoever's editing the video.
Oh my god.
Am I so much fucking better than you?
Oh my god, Canadian. I forgot about this guy. The advance in hardware and technology, yeah, I think, I agree with you. I agree.
You're playing Twitch, Gio. You're playing Twitch.
All right. Now, the thing
I
with
remember
Troy,
Canadian.
right? This is the most impressive thing about Canadian, is that what is the argument we make for LeBron, right? LeBron won in different eras on different teams. He won with the Heat. He won with the Cavaliers.
More basketball
and he won with the
references.
Lakers. That is the argument for LeBron, right? In different eras, Troy won
LeBron,
the first
LeBron
ever
Glazer,
Invitational,
for sure.
right? In 2017 with Continuum. He then won the 2026 Invitational with SSG.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
He won the 2022 Charlotte Major with Dark Zero. So
Wait, are you saying
in
Canadian
terms of
still plays,
accomplishments,
or are you talking
not
about
point
LeBron?
scorer 'cause he's IGL, I guess, but he's won like 2 to 3 years
What's up,
apart
Shooter?
on different teams 3 world titles. Best in the world 3 times in different teams. That is what makes Canadian so goddamn impressive. And one thing you'll notice, though the clip you just watched,
Damn, bro, that guy needs to retire, man. Why is he still playing, you think?
In the World Champion of CH. But like, regardless of that, this is what I mean.
He's
Right?
probably trying to get one of the, like a
Siege, if you
Siege
look at
Invitational.
Fabian,
Does he
if you look
have
at
one?
Canadian, at least these
I
two
might have
players in terms
I
of
missed
purely achievements, they're both IGLs.
I missed what he said
Right?
earlier,
So
so
this is what I mean by Siege is at this level is much more of a brain game in terms of being impactful than just an aim game, right? You can say anything you want about, stopping, this player, Bolo with the better system, with a better IGL, but it's players like Canadian and Fabian that use their comms, their IGLing, and their directing to create consistent results. There's a reason why they consistently win. Canadian wins consistently with different teams and different rosters and different time spans. And
why he go off about LeBron? He just he uses a lot of basketball references.
Not every tournament, but like pretty commonly he'd replace other members of his dominating squad, even though they were winning everything, and people were like, why would you change your roster after you won? No, he's doing it. He's consistently with different players as well, also managed to dominate because of his mind, right? So you bring a lot more consistency in winning and titles and chips by directing your team. And that's why, players like KD, they drop a hell of a lot of points. Players like Shaiko, they drop a hell of a lot of, frags, but they don't consistently win. Shaiko didn't, consistently win. Or
Gio, Bosco, damn.
Until he picked up Likeyfac, which is his IGL, his rookie IGL.
It's almost like achieved.
Right? So that's
Man,
why
it's like I'm reminiscing watching this back.
Isn't an aim game. It doesn't matter if you have.
Because I don't know a lot of the current pros right now.
No one's calling the shots correctly, and they're not united.
I just don't find it interesting to watch anymore.
So that is why Canadian.
He did bad his last major.
3 different world titles.
I'll watch like the SI
like
finals, and that's about it.
To me,
that's as far as I watch nowadays. So
achievements wise, he is like the LeBron of Siege, right? So 2 hammers, right? 2 6 invitationals. And that's
okay, so
why
he's got 2.
say,
Okay.
Like it's hard to compare Trico, Olo, Spoit against guys who have not only won the 6 invitational, but have won it.
Damn, how long is this video?
Tengu has 2, Fabian has 3, Canadian
we'll
has
watch it
2.
out.
Now, here comes the greatest team in recent times. If you watch Jinxie, then you've seen the 2024 Six Invitational Finals where W7M came back from a 6-1 deficit. 6-1.
I think Nesk will be
if
at all. If
6-1.
Canadians.
W7M then proceed to win every single round after that. Just watch.
Okay, but who is he talking about on W7M? Yeah, see, I'm not familiar with this team at all. And I don't think I watched it this year. In 2024, I mean. Jinxie hyping things up as usual. This man cracks me up with some of his fucking facial reactions. Okay, so it was a comeback victory. The British announcers, yeah, they make it sound better too.
This was one of Jinxie's most viewed streams. He had like 250,000 viewers. This was I think 300,000 viewers at some point. Like this
is that Goddess?
Pure cinema. right?
Oh, I thought
But
that was Goddess for a
that's
second.
not the craziest part. The craziest part of this run is that people thought after G2 there would never be a Siege Dynasty ever again. Chat, this team did not only, they're Furia now, so like bear, like keep it grain of salt, but this team won every single Ubisoft official tournament in the year. They went home run. There's 2 majors in the year and 1 6 invitational to cap it off. They
Mid hug
won
eye
the
connection.
R6 major Copenhagen. They won the R6 major Atlanta, and they won the 6 invitational. Back to back to back, an entire year, they hit a home run, right? A golden road, right? That's like winning your Prem League, like,
Furia.
that's like winning Champions League and then the World Cup in like the same year, except like there's 2 champions.
But they
How
used
does
to be
that
called
explain how
W7M.
insane this is? No team has ever went back to back to back to back like that. I guess maybe besides G2, but I think even G2 Penta had moments where like a team overtook them for one event of the year. In my opinion, that team as a whole, this team as a whole is the current greatest team of current times, and in the GOAT conversation, like all of these players as a 5, because they stuck together, they didn't change things. G2 actually changed things. These guys are like the coach, everyone, right? Greatest of all time, which is also why I am not the GOAT, right? I am not the GOAT. The coach of that team, that, by the way, he was with this team when they were in relegations. That's the biggest thing, right? And then he slowly picked apart the roster and put it back together until, like, he fucking created a dominant team throughout an entire R6 esports year, bro. Look at this. They were literally in 8th place. They were literally about to get relegated, knocked out of Pro League. And then he pieced back together the roster to win major 6 invitational. So this guy is the greatest coach of all time.
Man, the 6 invitational used to be only 1 million.
I thought what I
That
did
shit's
was pretty
tripled.
cool. Just because like none of these guys, I think what I did was special because I don't think it can be replicated, right? Just because I pieced together a team where no one has teamed with each other before in one stage, and we won the world title right after that.
I hope that
That's
when
the
I
only
finish
reason,
my
but in
empire,
terms of
someone
number of
glazes me
achievements,
like this
I
guy.
come nowhere close. I have the same amount of wins as Sploit.
Hey,
and
look.
we're pretty cool. We're both Asian. We're both pretty
You
cool.
never know who's
But,
watching,
you know,
Shooter. It may
that's
be
what it
me
is.
someday.
Now, if the thing is,
I gotta take a piss, though.
We can't really look at a
I'll just
whole
keep my
team
headphones
as a
on and
building
listen.
team or whatever. So we have to pick out players, and people fucking love numbers, obviously. So we're gonna look at the 2 highest performing players on the team, which are the fraggers. And I hate to discredit the IGL, the support player. I think they're the greatest in each of their roles respectively. But you know, when you look at NBA GOAT, you know, you don't look at the Chicago Bulls and like look at like Scottie Pippen. Oh, that guy's the GOAT. You look at MJ because he fucking scored a lot, right? So Herds. What did Herds do? Herds MVP'd the major Atlanta MVP, tournament MVP. He was a tournament MVP for the major Copenhagen. So he MVP'd both his major wins in that year, and then he had the most MVP wins, and he broke the tournament kill record for 6 Invitational 2024 at that SI that he won. So just for those of you who are not familiar with Herds, this is his gameplay. That's I'm just showing you.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy. I don't know much about the 2024 Pro League season because I gotta be honest, I was not playing the game during that time frame for a lot of the year because I got tired of hackers and, you know, just tired of the game overall. The quality that the game was producing was just not, or the quality of the games that were being produced
So
were not
that's Herds.
fun
For those of you who
in
aren't
nature.
familiar,
So
like I said, that event Herds
ended up taking
broke the kill record for an event kill record, and
Uh,
the other guy
another
we're gonna
hiatus from the
talk
game.
about, which on his team, the other fragger on his team, right, is Keys. Right, Keys is the other disgusting fragger on that team. Oh yeah, and shout out Gunner, you know, my player when the Manchester Major when we won together, he broke the BO5 kill record. Absolute fucking monster. Okay.
once my son joins Discord, I'll know he's ready to play some Siege. So Good shot.
Also, like, if you notice, I'm gonna make a video on this too. If you watch these Brazilian, like, Brazil, like, that region has dominated Siege. They have had, that year that they, like, all of that teams won, Brazil had 6 out of 6 grand finalists be Brazilian. Granted, 3 of them were W7M because they won all of them, obviously. But, like, Brazil dominates this fucking game. The last champion that beat BDS and Shaiko to
I've
win
been
the
wearing a
last
tennis
major
elbow
in
sleeve. This shit.
Montreal was a Brazilian team.
Hopefully
and they are known
keep
to
it
be
from
the most,
hurting, but that shit's not helping.
Disgusting mechanical region. If you watch them play, which I'll just play that keys like a montage, I guess. If you watch them play, then you'll notice that they're like Mako peak. They never like have shown peak. They just have solid crosshair placements. I also don't know why they edit their montages like this. Like it's kind of cringe. But if you just look at his movement. This is the guy that had 336 kills in one event. And I'm gonna make a whole video on this on like
yeah, he's just straight to the point. And the M4 that died there is not me, by the way. I just need to point that out.
Like, he's a Shaiko peak.
Brazilian teams brought the crazy strats, fast plants. I remember that. They were always known as like the fast playing teams.
Compared to like Exploit.
Yep.
And Bolo, like it looks crazy, right? But like all the players in the region, I swear to God, like 99% of them play like this. None of them are flashy. They just play
I feel like that's how I play.
And they're the most lethal region.
I mean, I don't have as good aim as these guys, obviously, because otherwise I'd be pro. But I'm not very flashy. I'm not a flashy player, man. I just try to play fundamentally sound to the best of my ability. Doesn't always work out, right?
To accomplish that
due to the lack of aim, you know what I mean?
That's everyone in the GO conversation. A couple honorable mentions. We have Palu and Nesk, which they both, like, Palu has 0 S tiers, and I believe Nesk has 1 S tier, which is the Pro League final. But they're like the best players, the most lethal players that have never won. This was before CGG. This is a stats website called CGG. Before that website kind of crashed and lost all its data, they both were plus 1,000, and I think right now they're nearing on plus 1,500 or plus 2,000. You see their KD? 3,000, 4,000, 3,000 kills and like 2,000 deaths. That means they have 1,000 more kills and deaths, and
that's actually crazy.
3 years ago. So they're like the best players that haven't won at all or enough, right? Like that's kind of 1 S tier, but
that is
that, like,
crazy. You
insane.
Called it, man.
They are insane, right? Like they are plus 1,000. That is like right now they're probably plus 1,500 if anything. And then Julio, right now he's a coach, I think. Is he a coach for BDS? Oh no, for Orgless. But he's a coach right now.
This guy's got a lot of knowledge, man.
Invitational. Yeah, he's won an Invitational, and then he's won. Okay. He won
and he's still playing. Nesk is still playing. What team's Nesk on now?
Second place again. Okay, so he's had 2 second place. That's why I completely blanked out. He's had 1 6th invite win and 2 second place invite placings. Which makes him like on the verge of like 2 additional hammers to like put him on the spot with Fabian, right? But unfortunately,
Liquid
he
still
wasn't getting close enough, so that's an honorable mention. But I hope you guys enjoyed that video. For the 6th Invitational coming up, though, it's going to be from February 3rd to
okay,
February
so who's he saying is the best one? Is he saying
16th.
Nesk is, or
is from the 14th
the other
16th.
guy?
I'll be there, but I'll stream all the games. Don't miss it, because Shaiko, Bolo, and Spoit are all going to be playing in that event, and if any of them win, then that puts them in the conversation.
Alright, I think that's it for the video. I enjoyed the video. I learned some things. Typically, you know, Pro League is not something that interests me a lot nowadays, but I think it's just because I haven't been playing Siege. Maybe I start watching it again and getting back into it. Yeah, the end wasn't very clear on who he decided is the best Siege player, but it's between Nesk and let's see if I can find it.
The greatest R6 Pro of all time is, and then Julio, right now he's a coach, plus 1,500 if anything.
Either
and then Julio,
who's that? Paula?
Right now they're probably plus 1,500.
Is that how you say it, Paula or
plus,
Nesk?
They are insane.
Or Palu?
They are insane.
How do you pronounce
that?
But
Like haven't won at all or
the
enough,
2 Brazilians.
Right? Like Nesk has 1 S tier, but other than that, like they are in.
Yeah. I like the video. If you guys want to actually check that video out, I'll go ahead and post it in the chat here. If you do watch it, make sure you give it a like as usual, right? I think the guy, even if you don't watch this video specifically, Fett has amazing YouTube videos as far as Siege content goes. So